juxtaposition session here at the Berlin University of the Arts, focusing on new perspectives on contemporary cultural production. And today we have Satoshi Fujiwara with us, and I'm very excited about your presence. Satoshi is a Kobe born in Berlin-based photographer, and there's a very beautiful intertextual reference within the series of lectures, because last semester Schumann Bazaar gave a talk. He's an editor, a curator, a writer. Did any one of you here see the talk by Schumann Bazaar? One person. So it's now two, I see. Okay, make it three, make it four. So anyway, so Schumann's a wonderful talk. I can recommend to kind of rewatch it on juxtaposition.net. And during this talk, he showed an exhibition. And in this exhibition were works of Satoshi. And while he was giving the talk, standing literally right, he said, actually, you should invite Satoshi. I think he would be great for the juxtaposition lecture. So I did. And here we are. So Satoshi is, you're a photographer, but also an artist. You have a very radical approach to photography and a very transdisciplinary. What I personally am very, very intrigued by is your almost hard-cut collage approach to photography. So the amount of images that are confronted. Also almost the grainy details of it. You really zoom close to the point where it gets almost uncomfortable. And then the way Satoshi uses photography as an artistic practice, but literally as a medium of sculpting as well. So photography here becomes a sculpture or an installation. It has a tectonic quality to it. There's a tactile experience with your works. So I'm very thrilled to have you here with us. You've shown in many institutions around the world, but I'm thrilled to have you here at the UDK and share your approach or kind of your upbringing in photography with us tonight. Before you come and before you can applaud, I will already open for you the presentation. And now a warm welcome to Satoshi Fujiwara, please.
Thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Satoshi Fujiwara, Berlin-based photographer and artist. I'm originally from Kobe, Japan, and it's west side of Japan, next to Osaka. And since 2012, I have been living here and working here in Berlin. I initially actually studied graphic design and worked for design office in Tokyo. But shortly after, I realized that it's not the profession for me. And also my interest gradually shifted into more fundamental things, such as interpretation of image or its manipulation, or basically how to read an image and how to define this image. And one day I decided to quit my job and dedicate myself into my self-study in the library, and started to read various books. And my aim was to grasp kind of context of contemporary image production. And very beginning of the exploration, I encountered a book which changed my vision. And the book called Empire of Science by Roland Barthes, a French author. And basically, it's an essay on Japan. But in this book, he analyzed and observed the detail of Japan and its culture, kind of based on his theory of linguistics. But I read it as as a comedy, actually, I couldn't stop laughing in the library, as I had never seen my country in such a manner, and kind of this book opened a new door to see the world differently. And also early films by Michael Haneke. And at the point I was also immersed watching a lot of movies. But when I watched his film for first time, I was quite shocked, and I couldn't stop thinking about this, the movies. And I started to watch many times and analyze, and two things I found struck me the most. First things is the casting in the films is insanely well done, so that characters in the films plays so natural and realistic, even more than documentary films or news footage. And the second point is that his films always comment on film media itself, and in critical manner, and often play with and even betray the expectations of the audience. I was inspired and learning a lot of things, but kind of two things encouraged my self-study. And after a year of kind of intense self-study, I decided to move to Europe, as I was always fascinated by European imagery and its theory. And also I was at a point inspired by German contemporary conceptual photographers such as Thomas Ruff or Thomas Demand, double Demand. And also actually a big factor is my budget. I decided Berlin to start a new life and new career from the scratch. But after I relocated to Berlin, I just continued my self-study in the library while I was washing dishes in the restaurant. But slowly started to develop my own practice. And this is my first series of work. I created as an homage to Michael Haneke. And one of the films of the same title, there's a scene that one protagonist takes picture of the people in the train secretly in the Paris metro. I was kind of inspired by the scene, and I also just attempted to take a picture of the people in the Berlin train in S-Bahn and U-Bahn. But of course, in real society, you are not allowed to take a picture without permission or even publish it. So I got interest to seek the kind of a boundary of one's recognition of likeness, or boundary of privacy rights or portrait rights. And I also started to manipulate the code of the people's face or like bodies, such as altering part of the body, or distorting or changing the color of the skin or hair or the clothing and so on. And also tightly crop the images and the portrait to limit its code. Basically, my aim was to obscure the kind of identity of the person or a subject in the picture. And it took several months to complete as a series. as I was constantly riding in the train and take a picture secretly, and also back to the studio and edit and so on. I kind of continued this kind of process. And I also created kind of a book featuring this series. And I wanted to play kind of traditional method of photo book making. And I decided to print those series in various format and materials, and to test perception of the viewer, how people perceive same person or same image differently in relation with this juxtaposition or this format and medias. And I got a prize for this series and was luckily nominated for several prizes. So I got kind of my first recognition. And I had the occasion to collaborate with fashion brand Semiyake, and the portraits were featured in the clothing and bags for 2015 men's collection, and presented in Paris Fashion Week. And in Berlin, in collaboration with Deutsche Oper, like the opera house, the portraits were displayed in the street to celebrate the new season of the opera. For me, what's interesting to see is, I was inspired, the kind of portrait had been gaining different meaning constantly in relation with the place and its medias. And on the left is my first exhibition, as a part of the collaboration with Semiyake. And as a photographer, from the beginning, I was curious about the possibility of kind of physical presence of digital photography or datas. So I produced for this occasion like 2 meter wide and 30 meter long. It's a huge photographic sculpture, photographic print made out of repetition of same images, and printed on PVC on the both sides. And through this test and installation, I realized this material allowed to merge the image and as a physical presence by draping and crumpling on the floor and so on. And after the exhibition, it was shipped to Barcelona to install in gallery space. I played kind of same photography prints within white cube space for first time. And after a few months, it was shipped to London for the London photography fair. And for that occasion, I cut the print to divide in 3 pieces to install 3 different individual photographic sculpture. And I was also interested in image manipulation in political context. So 2013, Reuters reported an scandal in Greek. So Greek police photoshopped away the bruise on the suspect's face from the mugshot. And it was kind of small, like internet news which I learned after a few years. But I found it interesting. It's kind of suggests kind of there can be a kind of hidden propaganda in the contemporary world. So I decided to create something based on this case, and also reversing this impact of the narrative. I created blues on the people's face, so it's a completely fake image, and added on the portrait from my past Kodan series, and combined together with close-ups of police images, which I have taken various occasions. And through a kind of manipulation, I created a kind of fictional narrative, a kind of a reverse narrative, to test our perception of daily image consumption, and also seek the kind of our sense of distance between state and citizens. And I installed one of the image in the public space in Tokyo by repetition of same image. And I created a kind of a wall of the police as a iconography of state power. I was wondering, I was curious about the people's reaction. But despite my expectation, there was no evidence of vandalism. Back then, after living a few years in Berlin, I was seeing a lot of graffiti on the street. I was quite surprised. And if the place was different, the result must be different. And this is a companion series of police brutality, which I created as a response to 2015 European migrant crisis. At that point, news media were reporting daily this huge ongoing series issue in Europe, with kind of emotional, like shocking images. And I wanted to create something on it. At a first glance, you might perceive those kind of images as a documentation of a brutal scene, or kind of clash between police and the citizens and so on. But in fact, all those images were taken in a very calm, neutral moment, and there was no brutal scene or when the photo were taken. And by manipulation, I created each image as an icon of violence, and by an association of the images of sourceless, the contextualized images. So always I'm trying to detach from original sources and to create a kind of fictional narrative as in a way, parody of reported reality. And I installed this series in gallery space, and my interest continues to seek the possibility of new form of photographic installation. And after the exhibition, I brought this huge print in a forest in a Berlin suburb to rephotograph it. So I was continued to test and experiment how if the new narrative would come out of its form. And 2015, there was many things happened in Europe. When the Paris November terrorist attacks happened, I was happened to be there. one of the shooting was happened right next block from where I was having dinner. And this is a front page of the newspaper in the following days. And next day, I was wandering to visit one of the scene where 13 people were killed. And I arrived with my camera, but I didn't want to report this incident itself, but to depict how this incident was treated in the media. And also for me, it was interesting to see the kind of background of news footage what has been generated. So I started to focus on the news crews there, a journalist and cameraman and so on, to create kind of a report on a report. And I started to focus more detail of one kind of quality of video cameras used by a journalist more in deductive way. Those kind of early series were exhibited my first institutional exhibition in 2017 at the Fondazione Prada Osservatorio in Milan. In collaboration with an Italian architect and curator, writer, Luigi Alberto Cippini. It's a really inspiring guy. And his architecture office, Amateur Global. We created kind of world-scale photographic survey as an overview of my early practice. And we took a reference from the specific exhibition in the history. And in 1942, in the mid of World War II, there was an innovative photography exhibition at MoMA in terms of exhibition design or image display. The exhibition called Road to Victory, and curated by Edward Steichen, and exhibition design was made by Herbert Bayer. And the exhibition purpose is basically to motivate or encourage US citizens for the war. It was opened shortly after Pearl Harbor attacks. And exhibition was very successful as a propaganda, and by Herbert Bayer created a world-scale setting and showing photographic images, showing with narrative, like a storytelling way, and the visitors were easily immersed into the message created by the organizers. So basically, this exhibition was commissioned by US Navy. And while our exhibition was created non-linear, anti-narrative way of image display, so visitors couldn't see to read the image with narrative. So each photograph was kind of suspended as a low status of propaganda. And Amateur Global suggested to took a reference from Datsubao. It's a big character propaganda poster in China. In the 60s, it became popular in the 60s during the Cultural Revolution. And various photos from different series were deconstructed and dissociated to map into different world-scale survey in kind of post-industrial environment. And after the exhibition, my interest in propaganda images or political images continued. And 2017, more than 800 neo-Nazis gathered in Berlin Spandau to commemorate kind of 30th anniversary of death of Rudolf Hess, like once deputy to the Hitler. And I visited this event to take a photo, and also I wanted to see it on site. And participants were carrying a kind of emblem of neo-Nazi or kind of red, white, black flags as a Deutsche Reich, German Empire flags as a symbol. And by pretending kind of naive Asian tourist, I get closer to the subject and take a picture and document it, made a close-up images. And after for a while, and I started to work on these images. And what I have done was to eliminate kind of symbolic of neo-Nazi symbolism, such as erasing the emblems or like literally bleaching the color of the flags and so on. So my aim was to emasculate kind of power of neo-Nazi symbolism. And as a result, the photograph became kind of skeleton of far-right participant of far-right politics demonstration. And this is a mock-up for my possible future installation. I do believe this is one of the best place for this series to exhibit it in its public space. And ideally, a kind of large-scale poster of usually used for election posters. My idea is install those kind of images as a blank canvas or a white canvas to provoke boundaries. And this is a Bina series, an account of voyeurism. Voyeuristic gaze is also important for me when I consider about the nature of photography. So I visited Venus erotic fair in Berlin, in Messe, and to take a photo. And instead of explicit kind of models of the shows, I focused the audience. It's kind of pale, blue excitement of the audience, and its record devices. And after a few years, I had the occasion to collaborate with Balenciaga. And for that occasion, I suggested to create kind of a similar setting in the studio based on Venus series to create kind of campaign images. And then COVID came, and in the middle of first lockdown in Germany, I was asked by the curators to create something together with Alexander Kluge at the point 88 years old, like German literary author and filmmaker and intellectual. And at that point, obviously, we had to work remotely. So we decided to employ kind of ancient letter communication like way, such like one inscribed message on the stone or a clay tablet, and then sent to it, and the second person received and got the message and erased and overwriting it and sent back and so on. But in contemporary way, which is online exchange. So Alexander Kluge started to provide a lot of interesting materials, mostly related to politics and history and news images and so on. He created, carefully selected and curated and kind of provided in kind of triptych footage. And I started to project these materials on the screen of my laptop to deconstruct it, and from various directions, and also kind of many times repeatedly to create over those footage, and then send back to Kluge. Then he provided new material and so on, and we had a kind of exchange of visual language. And as a result, we presented 4 minutes visual essay on our recent political traumas, and without any specific play or ideologies. It's a little bit content warning, and it's a little bit flashy, so if someone has a problem, let's close your eyes. Oh. Sorry. Much. Where was it? Okay. And okay. So post-X series, in which I use a little bit different palette. I have been working also in commissioned projects, particularly in fashion industry. In this series, attempted to rework on my past project. And by repossessing my procedure of the past commissioned project, this particular series demonstrates ability to possess artistic integrity within a commercial assignment. So actually, this is a campaign image I created for Salomon and GR10K. And I tracked back the process of my image making and translated in different language. And this is also a tracking back way of image making. In this series called traceability in the extended matrix. In the series, I attempted to explore the inside-out landscape of contemporary image production. The images are comprised various digitalized materials from my data, basically Dropbox. And not only the work-related materials such as mock-ups or drawings or citation and so on, but also my very personal material or private photo and private document and so on. So in a way, it can be considered as a self-portrait of myself or like autobiography of myself made out of my data. And next year, I will be staying in Wuhan in China as a part of residency program. I will dedicate to create a new portrait and autobiography of the citizens, or basically the local people I will encounter. And by not taking photographs of themselves, but to ask the people to provide me personal materials or possibility I visit their place to get the permission to digitalize these custom materials. And then I will map onto new atlas. So basically, I'm a photographer, but I'm not interested in creating beautiful images, but more like questioning and also attempt to redefine not only photography itself, but photographer as a profession. And also for me, it's interesting to constantly develop new language. And that's it. I hope you enjoy. Thanks so much.